Hello there. Big question for you. Would you bring your son or your daughter born out of Jamaica to live in Jamaica? Do you believe that there is any benefit that they can get from coming to Jamaica for a period of time to spend just a bit of their childhood? Or would it simply be regression to their development and stunting their dreams and aspirations? Let's explore this idea and these questions with some supporting statistics.
The Jam Fam family. Jam Fam, come hang with me. Yeah.
Hello, Wagwan. Big up yourself. Whether you're there yard or you're there abroad, welcome back to another episode of Life with the Jam Fams. Now, in this episode, we're going to be looking at the question as to whether or not there are any benefits in bringing your children to Jamaica to experience some portion of their childhood in this lovely country. It is everyone's right to parent their children how they choose and to adapt their parenting styles and practices for different developmental stages in their children's lives, for different social eras that their children are living through, and to help their children as they navigate certain seasons in their lives. Parenting is a lifelong journey that requires lifelong learning to ensure that we are training them well and raising them up to be valiant and upright. Many people have ruled out the prospects of exposing their children to Jamaica. There are children who have never visited and they have been exposed to talks about Jamaica that provokes disinterest rather than curiosity. There are parents who have already paved a path for their children and are content with the exposure that they've already received and do not intend to incorporate exposure to the Jamaican culture beyond their immediate surroundings in that development that their children are going to be experiencing. There are equally those parents who are keen to give their children a golden opportunity of experiencing life in Jamaica for a year, 2 years or more. Some of these children are not particularly fond of the exposure. Some appreciate the character building but would not make the move permanently, and others are joyfully integrating into life in Jamaica. Children who have been brought to Jamaica, their reactions are a blend of factors, from their social experience in their birth country, the educational system, the convenience that they are exposed to, friendships, and the exposure to particular types of events and activities, to their love of nature, the variety of foods and fruits that are available on the island, and family reunification. We mentioned previously moving to Jamaica to escape the maze, exit the rat race, alight from the hamster wheel, and give myself the chance to be reinvigorated. I felt so burnt out living in the UK that I was pretty sure that the next phase would be crashing, and something that I would never want to have realized, considering that I've seen people who have gone through things like that and experienced challenges and difficulties in that way. And sometimes we just have to read the signs and then take action to make sure that we escape certain eventualities and redefine what our future looks like. The fact is that some people might say you could keep pushing and keep going because you're more resilient than you think. And I am quite a resilient individual. However, none of us can really determine or say how it would have ended. And so I'm happy that I was in a position to reward myself in this way. The other reason that I moved to Jamaica was to give my daughter an opportunity to experience life in Jamaica firsthand and add to her self-confidence, her self-awareness, her tenacity as she is developing into adulthood. And it also gives us an opportunity to get to spend more quality time together, to get to be a more present parent. And I've always tried my very best to ensure that I am a very present parent. And this gives me an opportunity to do that even better. Just a quick question. or something to consider. If you went to a country that you are in as a child or as an adolescent, were there any marked differences that you noticed between you and the other Caribbean children who were born in that country? These need to be something other than their interaction with the conveniences that were around them or technology. If you're comfortable with doing so, please tell us one of those differences that you might have noticed in the comment section below. Many parents make certain sacrifices to slow down as much as possible to invest in their children, the added nurturing, training, and educating that they need to best circumvent certain nuances that they'll definitely experience. However, too many parents aren't able to give the time to some of these finer parenting necessities because they are too busy working to provide the rent or the mortgage or the food and clothing, as well as the education. There are so many statistics stacked up against Caribbean children in these foreign countries, and this divide between needing the time to work to cover costs and making the time to do the finer qualities of parenting sends many Caribbean children into the negative statistics machine. Being very aware of the statistics meant it was a determination to avoid becoming a negative one. In the UK, for example, 16% of Caribbean men go to university, a significant gap when you compare it to other ethnic groups. Only 2% of Black Caribbean boys eligible for free school meals, which is the equivalent of PATH in Jamaica, gained entry to selective universities. 65.3% of Black Caribbean were in sustained employment without further studies. They have the second lowest average earning 1 year after graduating, which is around about £19,800. The information that I have used thus far in terms of the statistics and those that I will continue to use are sourced from the Ethnicity Facts and Figures Gov.uk website. Only 46.4% of Black Caribbean boys had 5+ good passes at the end of secondary school, and only 57.7% of Black Caribbean girls. This is the ethnic group with the largest gap between the genders. This compares to the national average, where the national average is 65.1%, and these statistics are from the 2022 to 2023 academic year. It is also worth bearing in mind that in 2021, 63% of Black Caribbean children were living in lone parent household compared to UK average of 22%. Furthermore, Black people are 2.2 times more likely to be arrested, a rate of 20.4 for every 1,000 people. Taking just the men into account, and it becomes 2.4 times more likely for them to be arrested, with a rate of 28.2 arrests per 1,000 people. Canada and the United States have pretty similar statistics when you hear about bits of information that are happening in those countries with the different ethnic group. And of course, this is statistics, and there are families and children who fall on the other side of this statistics through sheer determination, dedication, and self-education. My 3 brothers, for example, living in the United Kingdom, my sister and myself, we all attended university. Success is very possible. Even then, though, there seems to be something significantly different when they go into adolescent, when it's people who are coming fresh from Jamaica and meeting up with Caribbean people who have been brought up in the United Kingdom. And this difference may be that something very significant is missing out of their formative years. When I went to the United Kingdom and saw some Caribbean parentage adults in the place of work, there was so much differences in their behaviors, their self-awareness, their self-confidence, their identity and sense of belonging when compared to myself and those that I see and left in Jamaica when we were leaving university colleges. And it was remarkable for me to notice. And after years in a system of feeling like less than, some of these people start to actually believe it, and it shows in their behavior. Spending years fighting for their voice and rite, some lost the will to fight. I remember 2 friends at a job placement in Lambeth, and they would often compare my behavior to theirs. To them, it was a breath of fresh air. The assertiveness, the resilience, and the tenacity, the grit that they saw, and the self-awareness, the self-assurance was something that they admired in me. Later on, as I work with others, I noticed the same sort of things that I noticed in those 2. Although they were educated and qualified to be doing the roles that they were doing, there was a marked difference between how they behaved in comparison to how I behaved and others who were coming from Jamaica and going into that country as an adult. It was also evident how some employers tried to suppress those very qualities out of us that were coming fresh either from the islands or from the continent of Africa, because we asked too much question, spoke up for ourselves a little too much, sought out justice and demand fairness a bit more than they could even tolerate. I knew whenever I had children, I wanted them to come to Jamaica for a while to soak up the learning opportunities, the character building, and the wholesome dosage of identity, sense of belonging, and fairness as they live with others as equals and compete on a much smoother and fairer playing field. When my daughter was much younger, there was a family with which I was acquainted, and they would send their children one at a time back to Nigeria for an academic year, in boarding school at that, to give them the same grounding that they have because they were unable to all go back as a family. They were determined to expose their children to that belonging and that character building that was necessary. Jamaica has its own social and structural problems, notwithstanding that feeling of fairness that the children experience in school, or the identity and belonging in a society where there is less likelihood that they will experience certain prejudices like their counterparts who are growing up in industrialized nation, is very beneficial to children as they are developing. This exposure helps them to build up their character and to build certain qualities of life for their future in ways that would not have been something that they would have been possible to do if they did not get the exposure of coming to Jamaica and experiencing certain aspects of life here. Every day, I am grateful that Yah has blessed me with the opportunity of affording this to my child as part of her development as she is progressing into adulthood. Would you consider seeing some of the ways in which you are able to give your child this experience and exposure? There are quite a few of us who have made the decision to do that on the island here. And maybe it is worth exploring if this is something that you believe that your child would benefit from, and how you might be able to go about making it a reality for them. Do tell us in the comments below what your views are on what benefits it might be for your child if they were able to get the experience to come to Jamaica for some period of their childhood. And remember, if you're looking to plan out a move to Jamaica, we have some resources that could help you, both our Moving to Jamaica series here in our library, as well as a workbook guide that we've prepared, and the link to which is in the description below. Have a look and see how they might be beneficial to supporting you with planning out a return, whether that's for a short period or for the long haul. Several of us have made the decision that we're going to move back to Jamaica and bring our children with us. There are lots of people that's doing it. For example, Returnee Rock, who's a YouTuber, has done it. The Stone family, they've done it. And there are other people who we know who aren't on YouTube or social media in that way, but they've also done it. Do you think that there are any benefits for parents making that choice? So any pros or any cons that you see in it as somebody who is going through that experience?
I think it depends on the mental state of the movers.
Okay, what do you mean? Elaborate.
Because if it's a case that they're returning because of maybe there's a financial situation, or maybe that they just mentally cannot be in that place anymore, then maybe it would be a good thing.
Okay, so what
I think that they should only move for development, if it has to do with the child's well-being, like the child might be bullied or something, or maybe something happened to them mentally, so they have to move, and maybe because you have family, for example, here, then you would move here for help that. Maybe that would be a problem, but it all depends on the child's mental state.
So do you believe that as part of getting an experience of the culture and some of the qualities of character building that is necessary for somebody, that coming to Jamaica can help with that, especially a person of color living in a predominantly Eurocentric society?
As a general, no.
Okay.
Because
Why?
generally, although you're moving to a place that is with people of your own, I'm just going to use the word kind, because, yes, as that, then maybe you might think that, but although they might be of your same
ethnic
color or ethnic group, they still can be rude or racist towards your own color, even though they have the same color. So if you're moving for that reason, I don't really think that that's a valid reason to be moving, because somebody was racist to you, then you move to a country with your race, because although they have the same race, it doesn't mean that they can't still be racist.
Okay, so they can still experience prejudice from that same environment. Okay, so in your experience of being in Jamaica, can you find any one way that you feel that it profits you, and then you can also say one way in which you feel that it was a disservice to you?
I guess in a way it gives more freedom.
Okay.
To feel how it feels to be more dependent of yourself instead of others.
Okay, so it helps to build independence, you think?
Yes.
Okay, and one of the things that you think is a disadvantage?
But a disadvantage for me, as in moving on a whole, or like the
moving here in the time that you've been here so far?
Well, one, which is just that because I've been living in England for basically all my life, and I don't know much people here, and obviously there's nobody that I actually know here that I would be able to be spending that time with other than you.
Okay.
Then it's more, and I do feel more comfortable in England than I do here. Not saying that I'm scared or something, it's just that it's my comfort place and I've been there all this time.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any mental reason to come here. In that case, and I wasn't bullied, I didn't have anybody being racist or anything like that. If there were, I would be taking it anyway, because I already know I'm black. Telling me that isn't an insult. So really and truly, coming here isn't changing wouldn't be improving
that aspect of your, okay.
That wasn't damaged in the first place.
I see.
And for me, I think that the only main reason why someone should move their child from their initial upbringing country to their personal country would be if the child is facing different forms of mental issues.
So things that could become
problems.
Okay. I totally understand your point, and from as a child looking on it and having the experience, I guess the environment in which you were growing up there and the things that were in your nurture as you were growing has helped you to be able to be a stronger individual in that environment than it would have probably been for others. And being an only child coming here has also posed its challenges, because you are now having to rebuild your social network in this country, although you maintain your social network from there.
And already I'm not a social person. Most of my friends that I have in England, most of them I've known them from about year 3 or probably year 1.
Yeah.
So
I understand.
It's a long friendship. So coming here, for example, here, the friends that I have here, I have only known them for about couple months, a year and a couple months. So it's different.
Okay, and I understand that, and I thank you for sharing your personal view on the matter with me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Here is a view of Bryce and a bit of Christiana before you get into Christiana, and this is a view from Silent Hill. So this is what it looks like all the way around. and that is some bamboo down there and some conifers that's growing down there, and down in the deep valley down there is a river as well. That is the border between Manchester and Trelawney. It's Hector's River. And then look at those massive fern leaves right there. Yeah. For those of you who like to see the rural landscape of Jamaica, I thought I'd give you a treat today. That's a jackfruit tree right there, and some pine trees growing up there. Can somebody tell me, is this a cedar tree? Because I'm not too sure if it is, but it's a big one here. And look at those philodendrons growing up on it. This is like proper, lovely, nice greenery. And jackfruit, there's jackfruit on the jackfruit tree as well. Tell you, Jamaica is a fruit forest. Wherever you go, there is food to be had. Oh gosh. This is my second sweet potato haul. Look at my sweet potatoes. So the first haul I only got one, and this haul I've gotten all of 4 of them. So that's a good progress. And I still have the bits, the vine out there. It's the same vine I cooked some of the leaves from the other day, and I will harvest some of those vines and get the leaves so I can cook some of it as well another day this week, and I will share that with you when I do. Out earlier and harvested some akis. I've packed some of them away, and then I have the rest here that I've just boiled. Now I'm just going to season this up and cook it nicely, and then I will have that to eat with my sweet potato and a piece of yam and some lovely vegetable that I will then make as well. And now it's all done, so I'm just going to leave that until later.
The Jam family. Where I living the good life. We're royal, cruising through the West Indies, having fun, enjoying the good life. Jam family, the Jam family, yeah. Jam fam, come hang with me. The Jam family. Where I living the good life. We're royal, cruising through the West Indies, having fun, enjoying the good life. Jam family, the Jam family, yeah. Jam fam, come hang with me.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on this another episode of Life with the Jam Fams. Bye for now, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one.